Collaboration was one of the main themes that came out, and I think it really follows kind of the clear call of the National HIV/AIDS strategy that seeks really collaboration and coordination at every level. And so we saw, I think, the desire at the community level, at the state level, to really have strength in collaboration. However, we did see some challenges in that. Given the realities of that there's limited resources, there was a sense of competition versus collaboration. And sometimes there was folks voiced that these RFP process, these requests for funding proposals, often fostered a sense of competition versus collaboration. And oftentimes when they were asked to state, who you're going to collaborate with, it was very kind of superficial.
I guess that pointed to sort of maybe some structural approaches that health department people can do at the state level, where they craft a RFP in a way that it's really true collaboration. So there's like an economic incentive to collaboration. And you can sort of, in effect, create the mergers. Maybe they're not going to merge as institutions, but they may have a funding source that's common and programs that are common. So I guess the challenge was, well, okay, we realize that some of it's competitive, but are there ways to structure the RFP process such that it would be much more collaborative?
But I will say that I think we saw a promise of collaboration. I think there was folks where we saw, they were having real honest, maximizing their respective agencies' expertise. And I think some strategies that we saw was this emerging strategy where we had a smaller ASO or AIDS serving organization who might not have had the capacity around the fiscal capacity, but then we saw this larger organization who may have been doing general public health efforts or broader health and wellness efforts, who kind of took in that AIDS organization to really help them around the fiscal management. But then they gained, so it was a mutual gain, they gained this HIV/AIDS expertise, and so they increased their HIV testing.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like in one jurisdiction, I remember a big city in the Midwest having a focus group with all these young Latino gay men, who were working in HIV prevention. And I was looking around and they knew each other, maybe they socialized even, and I said, wow, that's our political leadership, these young men. And I think, separate from the organizations, they've connected with each other. They've done things together in this particular town. And I think that could be, their incipient is the model for us, right? Is sort of this, network of young gay men who've stepped up and decided to, take a leading role. And there were women there, Latinas as well. So I think that might provide, even those our little focus group, was a way for them to come together.
We also saw an effective collaboration model around nesting and piggybacking. And I think that was an example that we heard from the health department who learned about an activity that was not HIV focused, but they saw an opportunity to really how can we have increased HIV testing in that venue that may not be having conversations around HIV prevention and education. So I think there was examples also that we heard of let's seize the opportunity. Folks are going to be at that place already. It really is a matter of just kind of bringing our testing kits potentially, or our information, or just having staff there versus us having to put together the entire program. So I think that was a really smart use of kind of what's already established and what's already existing, and kind of make sure that HIV is not in a shallow programmatic efforts, that it's really kind of broader events that are happening to really integrate that.
And what a smart strategy, right? Because when we think about Latinos, we just can't think about HIV prevention. We have to think about diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure in terms of men, colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer in terms of women. And there's a way of folding, right,
exactly,
all those services together. So a person can go to a health fair and you don't know whether they're there for this or that or the other thing, but it's a general health fair for Latino and Latino concerns.
And the impact of it is to raise general awareness around all kinds of health issues that incorporates HIV, and also destigmatize HIV as being kind of functioning in the silo, as you say.